we are going to look at 5 simple, easy tips to improve your TOEIC score. So before we start, please share, subscribe, like. I always appreciate your support. Let's get started. Tip number 1, you need to understand the different uses of yet. Let's look at 2 uses that learners often don't know. The first is when we have a superlative yet. A superlative is like the biggest, the most difficult, the least harmful. And if I say the company is releasing a car that will be the most fuel efficient yet, that means no other car has been as fuel efficient. No other car has reached that level. Or if I say this is the hardest test yet, it means ever, until now, until this point in history. So we often use it with superlatives. For example, this grammar might be the most difficult yet, but I don't think so. All right, so let's look at some examples from the TOEIC test. Let's look at number 1 here. It says, Great Hope is Toshi Raymond's most inventive stage production yet. A key thing I see is most inventive. Now, when I have this, it's a superlative, and my choice is going to be A, yet, because I'm saying ever, until this point in history. So the answer here is yet, most inventive yet. Let's look at another example. Many analysts believe the new phone will be the company's highest selling product. Keyword, highest selling. So highest selling is already a clue for me that yet will probably be correct. And it is, yet. Now let's look at another use of yet that a lot of students or learners don't know. It's the phrase has yet to or have yet to. This means you haven't verbed yet. For example, the team hasn't won a championship in its history. Another way to say this, the team has yet to win a championship in its history. Now, usually when we use this form, we use present perfect. Usually, about 99% of the time. And have yet to verb or has yet to verb means hasn't verbed yet. Let's look at some examples from TOEIC. It says, despite blank, the company is still considered attractive to most investors. Now, right away, I know A is incorrect because despite is a preposition, so I don't have subject verb after it. Then I look at B, despite having yet to make a profit. Okay, they have yet to make a profit. They haven't made a profit yet. This would be my answer here, B. Now let's look at one more example. There is no good reason that I know A is wrong, right? A is definitely wrong because the subject verb agreement. B doesn't work because I need a verb. And D doesn't work because it would be will call. So the answer here is has yet to call me back. She hasn't called me back yet. She has yet to call me back. So just a review, has or have yet to verb means hasn't or haven't verbed yet. All right, the next tip, number 2, don't immediately choose the noun if you see an the, an, her, his, its. Check to see if there is a second noun after it. Now, this is a common mistake by beginners on TOEIC. So they look at this question and say, it was a. So they see a and say, I need a noun. I need a noun. They don't say it that way, but they say, I need a noun. But decision is the noun. So you're going to probably need an adjective. So many students make the mistake and pick C. The best answer, it was a challenging decision, because challenging is an adjective that describes decision. So just because I see the doesn't mean I need a noun right away. Do I have a second noun? Let's look at another example. It says, it was a blank for the company. I don't have a second noun, so here I pick a noun. So the answer is C. All right. Now, number 3, understand compound nouns. Compound nouns are when two nouns go side by side. Now, some examples are power plant, shoelace, retail outlet, job description, cheeseburger. These are nouns beside each other. Now, how are compound nouns usually created? It starts with noun, preposition, noun. The preposition is taken out and the second noun goes at the start. Let me give you an example. I have a cup for coffee. So here, coffee goes at the start, cup goes after. I have a coffee cup. Or they have a small share of the market. Well, I have market, put that in front of share, and I say they have a small market share. Now, one thing about compound nouns is the first noun is almost never plural. So let's look at an example of where compound nouns come up in Toeic. Many citizens were upset when they found out the blank industry received more subsidies from the government than farmers. So I have the blank industry. Now, a lot of people would say I need an adjective, but not here. You're going to use a compound noun because this is the industry for oil. So this is B, the oil industry. Or if we look at the next question, the blank date was supposed to be January 5th, but it has been delayed until the 12th. The blank date. Well, here you're actually going to use a compound noun because it is the date of or the date for delivery, so the delivery date. But using logic, many students will pick B or C because they think they need an adjective. But in this situation, you need a compound noun. So be aware of compound nouns. Learn compound nouns. Let's look at one more. The shipment was delayed due to blank factors. Well, here, there is no compound noun. So it's just various factors. You're going to use the adjective. So the answer is A. So compound nouns are actually words. And how do you learn them? Life, studying, experience. All right, let's look at number 4, tip number 4. Be aware of countable and non-countable nouns. Remember, a non-countable noun will not have an a or an and before it. Let's look at an example question from Toeic. The manufacturer recommends machine washing at low temperatures, as high temperatures may shorten the life of a. So I have a, and I know clothing is non-countable, so A is wrong. I know clothes are non-countable, so B is wrong. And denim is also non-countable. So the only answer I can choose here is C. Garment is countable. And garment is just a piece of clothing. But this is a garment. All right, let's look at another example. Employees often provided senior staff blank regarding how the process can be more efficient. Well, I know the answer is not A because recommendation is countable. You can give one recommendation or you can give two recommendations. So it's not A. It's not C because suggestion is also countable. And it's not D because idea is also countable. The only word here that is non-countable is advice. So I don't need an article before advice. So provided senior staff advice. Now, if I had A before it, senior staff it could be A or C. If I had an, it could be D. Okay, the last tip. This is so important. Have a noun form after a preposition. If you see at, on, in, for, with, without, within, of, despite, in spite of, towards, about, due to, because of, all of these are prepositions and they are always prepositions, so they need to be followed by a noun form. Now, a noun form can be a basic noun, it could be a gerund, which is verb ing, or it could be a noun clause. All right, so let's look at an example. It says, it was surprising to many as despite blah, 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 the profits did not increase. So I look at these questions and I eliminate right away D and C. Those are definitely wrong. Despite is a preposition. It cannot be followed by subject verb. I need a noun form. So now I have to look at my vocabulary. And A is incorrect because only children grow up. Numbers, sales, inflation grows. Trees grow. They do not grow up. Only children grow up. So the answer here is B. Let's look at one more example where we're thinking about prepositions needing to be followed by a noun form. So this TOEIC question. There are internal concerns within the university regarding. Regarding is a preposition here. So I need a noun form after it. A is definitely wrong because I have subject, verb. Definitely wrong. B is definitely wrong because I have a subject, verb. Students registered. C and D both have gerunds. These are not verbs because we are not saying are registering or were registering. These are not verbs. These are gerunds. And what am I going to pick? I'm going to pick C because D, it needs to be signing up for classes. So the answer here would be C. Let's do one more to finish off. Blank, how she performed at the competition. She received an offer to join the idol group. Well, how she performed at the competition is a noun clause. So I will probably have a preposition before it. I will have a preposition before it. Because is not a preposition. As is not a preposition in this form. If I'm giving a reason with as, I go as subject verb. I went to bed early as I was tired. So C is incorrect. And D is also correct because since is not a preposition when it means because. I can't say since being tired, I went to bed. I'm going to say since I was tired, I went to bed. So my only choice here is B. All right, so these are some key tips. This was fast. I encourage you to watch the lesson a couple times. Hopefully you learned something. Please share, like, subscribe. That really helps me out. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.